Before today's show, I was at the Trailblazers practice facility for pre-draft workouts, and we had our first crew of guys coming through that had real first-round grades on them. Now, most of these guys, if they do have a lottery grade on them, they are right on the fringe of that. Most of these guys, I would say, are probably pick 15 through 25 is probably what you're looking at.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. This is far and away
the
best group that has come through in actual first round worthy guys. But it did seem like this group was
the next group back.
Yeah, not 11.
So here's what's going to be really interesting from this draft. After the top 5 picks 6 through 14 is going to be. I use the term grab bag, and I'm not using that as a pejorative. It is a eye of the beholder situation. What do you want? And that is kind of where that world is. Do you want a big guard like Kasparas Yakashionis or Yegor Demin? Do you want a project-type player to work with, like and try to build out over a long tail like a Carter Bryant? Is that somebody that you're kind of looking at? Like, there's so many different guys in this range that you could see maybe a team preferring a more finished product, like a Rasheir Fleming, who has multiple years of experience and has showed a growth trajectory.
St. Joe's.
He came in, and he's part of the group today. Let me go get to the guys that came in today. You had Asa Newell out of Georgia. You had Rasheir Fleming out of St. Joe's. You had Hansen Yang, who is from the Chinese Basketball Association, the Qingdao Eagles. I can never remember what their mascot is. Jase Richardson, the son of former NBA player Jason Richardson, the guard from Michigan State.
If they go 6-foot guard at number 11, no,
I know likey. Liam McNeely, Donovan Clingan's teammate at UConn, or excuse me, not teammate. Followed Donovan Clingan, but from UConn, and then Will Riley, the big guard / wing at Illinois.
That's how they were built at Illinois. Big guards, baby.
It was a big, long team. I mean, so for those that are wondering, Asa Newell
and could not miss when they went to Eugene.
Oh God, Asa Newell, 6'10", kind of a tweener in the sense of, like, is he really a 5? Is he more of a small ball 5 / more interior 4? The questions with here's my quick synopsis on Asa. I love his mentality. I love his IQ, his charisma. The way he moves, he's incredibly fluid. The shooting was suspect, and that will be a big determining factor for him. I think he shot 26% from 3 at Georgia this year. He also, while 6'10", I believe he measured at a 6'11" wingspan, which is very reminiscent of like a Mason Plumlee who had shorter arms. Typically, when you're bigger, you want to see at least a +4. So you kind of, like, for perspective's sake, somebody said on the text line that Asa Newell is like he was the Pokemon evolution of Ryan Repair. Well, the problem with that is Roops is 6'8", 2 inches shorter.
Roops has got long.
He's got a 7'3" wingspan.
Yeah,
he is freakishly long with his wingspan, and so that's kind of the knock on Asa. But one of the first things I noticed, because he was here for Hoop Summit a little more than a year ago, he has put on real weight. He has put on around 20 pounds. That's when we got done doing the media availability. I talked to him for a split second. I was like, hey, man, you look a lot bigger than you were here a year ago. And he just kind of smiled. He's like, yeah, that's the feedback that I've gotten. And a lot of teams that I've already talked to at the Combine think I can put on a lot more and still be fluid. And that's a real, like, he's 225-ish right now. If he can get up to 235, 240, and maintain fluid athleticism at 6'10",
not too shabby,
and turn into a 35% 3-point shooter. Again, you're asking for some asks here. There's no doubt about it.
Pretty big asks.
But again, you're talking about a guy who only spent 1 year in college, one and done.
Yep.
He played at a very high profile team. He actually played with Liam McNeely in high school as his high school teammate. So he said it was very cool to work out with him as part of this process. But I don't know if I'd take him at 11. The intangible stuff about him, I love. Great cutter, very fluid, very active. The guy that just blew my doors off, though, was Rasheir Fleming. Rasheir Fleming came in with a nearly, I should say, 8 3/4 or 8 and I think it was 8 5/8 wingspan, +8. This guy's arms, he's 6'9". His arms, his middle finger when standing there was resting on his kneecap. I mean, it was like, oh my God, this guy is long.
That is crazy.
And Played at St. Joe's, really knocked down the three at a high clip. I think it shot 42.5% from three. I don't look at him as a guy that you're like, man, I wonder if he can add some on the dribble juice. He's a guy that I look at and go, he is a proven commodity in that he can be a 3-and-D player. And if he does add a little off the dribble wiggle, the ability to attack closeouts, the ability to be a second side attacker, great.
Yeah.
But if you're drafting a guy 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, somewhere in that range, having a guy as you can plug in and trust, that's valuable.
Yeah, it is.
But I asked him, like, the one question that I made sure that I asked all the guys today, who are the guys that you watch tape on? Because it kind of gives an indicator of like who they see themselves projecting as in the pros.
Yep.
And I loved Rasheir's answer. Jaden McDaniels and OG Anunoby, because he's kind of a hybrid build of those two guys. Not barrel-chested like OG, but not thin-framed like Jaden. He's a bigger up top, but has Jaden's insane wingspan. Because the thing about Jaden McDaniels is he's 6'10" with crazy long arms. OG has long arms, but he's a truck up top, and he's very difficult to deal with. And hearing him understand kind of the lane he's going to be in was those are the kind of things that I take from guys. Like, they're saying the right things.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the concern there is he became, like, from year one at St. Joe's to year three, an incredible three-point shooter.
You saw the progression each year.
Every year he got significantly better in that, but is there going to be more consistency with that when he gets to the NBA?
Typically,
because
when you see
he was never a dead-eye, lights-out shooter. He used to work for it.
Yeah, but do you see the work paying off?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I had some people asking, what I think.
He didn't shoot a lot either.
He shot enough in college. Yeah. But the thing that he kind of reminds me of, his frame, it's not as big as him, but the idea of him, a prospect coming out that I loved that I just ended up having wrong was Noah Vonleh. Noah Vonleh was built in a lab to play the power forward in that era. Mm-hmm. And I was like, 6'10", big shoulders, big long arms, huge butt, just tree trunk legs. I look at Rasheir, not quite as big up top, crazy range with his wingspan and his mobility, big, strong base, big legs. And I go, you know what? In the modern NBA and what you guys, this archetype is asked to do, you have the physical tools to be an impact guy on both ends of the floor.
Interesting. I mean, he would be a bit of a reach at 11.
Yes. And again, none of these guys are guys that I would be like, yes, you have to take them 11. It depends on how the board falls and who goes where and what kind of happens. If you're picking 15, 16, yeah, you've got my interest. Another guy who hasn't come through here yet. I imagine Will is Neat Clifford from Colorado State, one of my favorite players in this draft, who's not a dyed in the wool. Oh yeah, he's going to be a star. I think I look at him and I see supersized Josh Hart, which if you can get
supersized Josh Hart is very intriguing.
A better shooting 6'6" Josh Hart is a very good player in the NBA.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, because he's with teammates with Jabari Walker, I was talking to Jabari about Neek a couple times throughout the season, and I was like, when I watch him, I go, I see Josh Hart, and Jabari just flashes this huge smile. He goes, I'm going to tell him that. He goes, you know who he watches the most tape of? I'm like, Josh? He goes, yeah, that's the guy he watches. Because he's a great rebounding guard. And so is Neek. Neek averaged just short of 10 rebounds a game in college as a guard. You want to see that. Speaking of guards, one of the guards that they brought in is your undersized guard.
Jase Richardson.
Jase Richardson, who barefoot is 6 foot tall. Okay, today, I didn't have to look up to talk to him. And I'm sitting there going, his frame's tiny. Boy, he's going to have a tough time. And I loved his answer when I asked him, look, the thing that is going to come up over and over again is your size. Who are the guys you were watching in the league that are smaller that you were taking from to be successful in the league? His answer could not have been more perfect for me. Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Mike Conley is 6'1" and it's like, I don't know if people truly remember how fast, quick, twitchy Mike Conley was coming out of Ohio State. He was a blur. And Jase Richardson is an elite athlete. He does not have the hops of his dad, where I think Jason had a 44 or 45-inch vertical.
He was lights out. Just like he would jump out of the gym.
He's got one of the best in-game verticals in modern basketball history. Jase doesn't have that, but he's got bunnies. Like he can get up. And it was interesting. He goes, during the drills today, the coaches were all asking us to switch on everything. Okay, so the guys I mentioned, 6'10", Asa Newell, 6'9", Rasheir Fleming.
Having to switch with the 6-footer?
Well, it got worse. The team he was up against had 7'2.5" Hanson Yang. And he got caught in a couple switches on that and had to do. He's like, I wanted to show that I could do it.
Yeah.
He goes, and he was asked about, how the scrimmages went, because they played some 3-on-3s. He goes, there was a lot of trash talking. It was a lot of fun. He goes, it was tough to score around the 7'3" guy.
I would imagine so.
Because you just don't see that in college.
Yeah.
That's just not something you're accustomed with. The other guy that was there was Will Riley, the 6'8.5", 6'9" guard wing, who's gotten some LaMelo Ball comps because of kind of how he moves, kind of slinky, just kind of slides around. He's a guy, was a highly, highly, highly touted recruit. He, to me, is a guy, as you're looking at as a project, if he hits, not like a project in the sense of like a repair where he's really raw, but I think it's going to be a couple years in the sense of like, by the time he comes around a second contract, you're going to know whether he's got it or not. But if he does hit, it could be very interesting because, again, you're talking about that size. Having ball skills at 6'8", 6'9" is a big deal.
Yeah, but will you know if he's in Portland? Because there's a lot of guys like that.
And so,
that's the problem. And that's where you go, you look at the roster, you look where the log jams are going to be, and that's going to be the most difficult part for the Blazers, is that you've got a lot of projects as it is.
And here's an interesting thing for Portland, because agents are trying to get their guys in positions where they will have opportunities on the floor. There is not a position on the Blazers roster that does not have young depth. Point guard, you've got Scoot.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting guard, you've got Shaden. Small forward, you've got Tumani. At the 4, you've got Chris and Tumani and Roops in the 2-3-4 range. Denny is 24 at the 4. Donovan Clingan is 21 at the 5. So they are young everywhere. And one of the obstacles the Blazers are going to have, again, talking about getting guys to come in at pick number 11, they already have to overcome that hurdle. The second part of this is they have to kind of work with agents to get guys in the building that maybe their agents are trying to steer away from Portland because they have so much young depth, because they won't have the clear path to playing time. That is an agent's job. It's not just to get guys to a position that gets them the highest draft slotting. It's getting them to a team.
Well, that's what you saw today, is a lot of guys who were not even in consideration for 11, but
they want to come here for that because that's a higher spot for them.
Yep. And that helps them.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be really interesting. Expect much more workouts like this coming forward, where they're going to get better and better. And then it's going to be interesting to see how many of these end up being the private/closed workouts.
Yeah.
I'll find out about them and who kind of came through. It was funny last year. I was there for one workout, and DC walked by, and I looked at one of the guys in the Blazers, and he just looked at me and just shook his head. I'm like, yeah, the 7'3" guy is kind of hard to hide.
Yeah, you can't hide him. Can't hide him.
So there'll be a couple of those, I'm sure, because that's how agents like to kind of control things. But we're less than a month away, and I'll have the database, and I'll start sharing out, my notes and thoughts on some of this stuff. But it was nice to kind of be in the swing of things as we're, like I said, less than a month away. We are June 25th, so we're the 29th today. We are a little bit under 4 weeks away.
Well, we hope they can start working out guys that are in that 11 range.
Expect to see that in the next probably 10 days. So